The mushrooms are getting a bit of a suntan before we eat them. We already, well, James is eating mushrooms right now, but they're from a different batch. We're barbecuing right near where somebody injected themselves with some drug.
This is our unsupervised overconsumption
Yes. And, well, I'll be putting the mushrooms in this container. And I didn't have cauliflower or corn ready. We already ate some corn that was ready earlier.
Hi.
So anyway, I'll just let this continue to cook and sit down and eat what I have.
Maybe I should have got the security guards to come pick the needle up.
Nah.
They don't have the equipment for it.
No, it was, I don't know, that thing's not a needle, it's like a, I don't know
Oh, okay.
the thing about I don't know how they do the drugs, so I don't know how it works out. Anyway,
You want me to hold that cup?
nope, that is perfectly fine. So we were going to talk about
I should hold on to it.
different things.
Okay.
The interesting things that we've heard on the CBC. Like, I had started my story about how I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. The camera cut out
Some
of time, and I didn't get back to it. So when I was a teenager, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and because a lot of passive people, that's where they'll get a job. They don't get the tip jobs. So, and I mean, they're not going to be as persuasive with customers to get them to buy more than they would
Get them to grab dessert.
want to. So, anyway. So it tends to be the yellows. And so, anyway, one day while I was, I guess I'm going to have to start telling more of the story to get to it. But, when I was a teenager, I worked there, and I saved money because passive people save money, even when they're making basically nothing. So, I think at that time I was making around minimum wage, maybe a little less than minimum wage. No, I think at that one it was minimum wage. When I worked at Dairy Queen, it was less than minimum wage. But anyway, I saved money, and I put myself, I got a little loan. It wasn't very much, and I'd paid it off right away after I was done school. But
You put yourself through college?
yeah, I put myself through college with the money I'd saved from working at Kentucky Fried Chicken and things like babysitting. So we're listening to the CBC, and they're talking about, like, there's one guy, he calls in, and he'd been a waiter, and he told his whole story, and I could tell that once he got to his comment on, like, his stand on whether they should cancel the tips right now, like, I don't know if this is permanent or just during COVID. He thought that they should, because he said there's no way that, like, you're asked to give a tip before you even know if the food is cold or if it's, anything about the food. So you're asked to give a tip before the meal rather than after, which is not right, he said. Anyway, he said that when he was making, or maybe it was another person that was saying this, but anyway, he said something about the tips were the income, because the paycheck that they'd get at the, they'd get a paycheck every now and then, and it was just like free money, because it didn't even seem like anything compared to the tips. They were the most of the income. And I guess like for me, that income that he's saying, oh, we didn't even consider the actual paycheck income. That was my
total
income. That was my total thing. So anyway, and they don't consider that even income.
Yeah.
So, and it worked out that they were making, and waiters and waitresses were making an average, or make an average of $28 an hour doing that because of their tips. And
And they were complaining.
well, the thing is, after I got done, so he's talking about how he paid his way. He worked doing waiter work. He paid his way through university that way. And that's great for him. That's nice that he had that opportunity to do that. Whereas I had to work before and really save up. I couldn't pay my way through while going because there was just not enough money to do that. But so I had to work for several years to be able to make enough to go to college, and then I did. And then once I got out of college, I made $11.61 an hour, not $28 an hour. $11.61, and that was
Even
actually
with some inflation.
right away after college. I got a job with a private company, and they were paying me $6.50 an hour to wheel wheelbarrows full of gravel around.
That's
And
tough stuff to do.
Yeah, it was
I've done that.
not fun.
No.
And dig in, like plant shrubbery in and trees in like soil that was so compacted because these were newly developed areas and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was very grateful when I got that $11.61 an hour, and that was working for the city. So that was a good
A
job.
unionized job. That was City of Calgary.
And I have, I've never made $28 an hour. I've never made as much as that, working any of the jobs that I've made. Even after university, even after
a university degree.
getting a university degree, I haven't made $28 an hour. So here, the thing is aggressive people have so many different opportunities, and they have opportunities to make much more money with much less education than passive people do.
Irresponsibly less education.
Yeah. Because, I mean, really, when I was getting back to the Kentucky Fried Chicken thing, when I was young working, somebody came in and he gave me a tip. And it wasn't much. It was something like $2 or something like that. I think it was $2, and I'll get back to that. And I said, I don't think I'm allowed to accept tips. Thank you, but I can't take this. I don't think I'm allowed to take it. And I don't remember if I actually accepted it or not, but I was really uncomfortable. And he said to me, why should waitresses, you have done such a good job here, why shouldn't you get this tip when I have to give waitresses a tip? And I don't know, right? And back then I was much more passive, and I just passive, like much more amiable. And I thought about it though, and I still remember it, right? And it's not fair. It's not fair that they make that. There are some people who they might get something out of the power thing of being able to have some dominant female or male, some aggressive personality type waiting on them. That is not me. I don't get off on that. So every time I have to pay a tip to a waiter or a waitress who is an aggressive personality type while I'm a passive personality type, it's uncomfortable for me, and they're actually dominating me by making me pay them the tip. And they know it. They know when people have a sense of it. Whether they are conscious of the fact that you're passive or aggressive or different personality types, they do sense it, right? So most good waitresses or waiters, when they're like I haven't went to a restaurant in so long, but when I've had to with other people, they have the sense to just not bother me because they can tell I do not want to be served. I don't want to be waited on. It makes me uncomfortable. And I don't know if I'll ever go to a restaurant again. I haven't went in a long time, and I don't care to go. I don't care to leave my house, honestly, unless it's to hike. So, but if I do, when I've went to a restaurant, it's $2 tip.
Mhm.
No matter what. They were talking,
That's a good
18%.
policy.
If I'm ordering, in times when I've went and I've ordered a coffee, the coffee is probably going to cost less than $2. $2 tip. In times when I've went to meals and it's cost a lot more because somebody chose a really expensive restaurant or something, $2 tip. That's all you get.
Why? Because it's the same service, right?
Mm-hmm.
He told that to me today. I said, wow, that's eminently sensible.
Mm-hmm.
My policy was I go to the same restaurants all the time. Same tip every time. I didn't care who's serving me. You know, like if I didn't like the service, I just wouldn't go. But, you know, I found that drivers, waiters, waitresses, sometimes cooks or management, they'd all come back and hang with me and stuff like that. They knew that hanging with me would make no difference to a tip or anything like that. People want to hang with me. I put up with people smoking right in my face while I was eating, but people want to hang with me. They'd better hang with me for something other than money. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Now, I was treated nicely at the one restaurant. I'm not going to say all the favors I got, but I know one time some other people were there with me and they were just absolutely flabbergasted. I got twice as much food, and see, like that was coming. I'm not going to say where it was, but it was coming out of the boss's pocket. It wasn't coming out of their pocket or anything like that. And you know, frankly, the boss deserved it to have this stuff. He was a cheapskate, and so I had a different kind of policy. I'd always order basically the same amount of stuff, but it came out to the same thing. And the one thing they'd never do is, you want more with that? You want dessert or whatever, you know? That sort of stuff I don't care for, you know? I find that I'm, you know, like if it's a car dealership, you know, like we're getting stuff fixed up, I'm kind of uncomfortable. They make sure that you're on your feet. You know what I'm saying? Have you noticed that about the one dealership that's the worst? I'm always on my feet, and they, you know, they'll be, can we throw this in? Can we throw this in? I'm going, yeah. And then it's only after you get the bill you realize that's not part, you know, that's not into the bargain, you know. So, but it's the same basic deal, you know. Like they tend to have women there for dealing with men, and I think they think they're manipulating me. They're manipulating me by having me on my feet, but you know, like it's not as though I got fantasies about attracting these women and stuff like that.
Anyway.
Oh, okay. This is kind of like the soft parade today, I'm telling you. I don't think he saw us.
That was very strange.
I think he was thinking about grabbing. Maybe thought we were just, you know, doing the...
Yeah, I think he wanted
Doing
to take
some
our
bags.
barbecue.
That's what he's looking at. Yeah.
He
There was
didn't
some.
know
Yeah,
we
he
were
looked
here.
kind of like sweaty when he realized there were people back here. Wow. Jeez.
I wonder if that's happened to people.
Oh, it would. Yeah. I mean, especially in a
They
situation
get
like
out and their
this.
steak's missing.
I mean, this place, it would be legend. Of course. This place would be legend, you know, for grabbing a variety of different things. Coming to sit in here and, you know, relieve yourself and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Same thing with my backyard, like you know how they've got the lilac, or you have the lilac, which is set up. You rejuvenated them, right, or something like that. But they've kind of, grown a bit into the alleyway. I've had people peeing.
I don't actually like rejuvenating shrubs, but what
well,
happened is I
no.
needed to move that shed in
Yeah,
there.
exactly. At any rate, it worked out, but the lilacs are quite bushy back there. I've caught one person actually driving his truck up in a hurry, mad hurry. I didn't know what was going on. Went out back, and
Yeah.
he took off as soon as he saw me. I managed to, but I looked and I saw a lot of wet on the ground.
Yeah.
So he'd been caught short. I've caught people puking back there, all this sort of stuff.
So
I guess other people have got to put up with this too, but
yeah.
they shouldn't have to.
But why don't you tell about the CBC thing about the guy lead up to that healthcare guy, what he was talking about?
Okay, so
While I'm
what was
doing
that guy saying exactly?
Well, it was something about how they're finding that people get COVID,
Mhm.
and then they
Oh, it's
They can get it a
younger. What was
second
he
time.
saying? The average was 38 years old now,
I don't know.
and they tend to be asymptomatic. The younger ones tend to be
Yeah.
asymptomatic.
So
And he seemed to be kind of enthused
yeah,
about
well, what
that.
he said is that they're finding that people will get COVID repeatedly, so they're getting it again, even though they've already had COVID. But the next time they get it, they have no symptoms.
Yeah.
And he said, so that's great.
Yeah. Wow. Is that ever stupid?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that ever not great? Because if people are only getting tested
because they've got the symptoms.
because they get the symptoms, right? So they're not likely to, it's voluntary testing. Like, I've never been tested for COVID. Nobody's ever phoned me up
No.
and said, oh, it's your turn to get tested. Or
That's right.
like, what good
It's your
would that
lucky
do
day.
anyway?
It's like you won the lottery.
Yeah. So it's all voluntary. So if you have no symptoms, you're not going to get tested, and then you're just going to be spreading it around.
Ultimately, everyone will get it
Yeah.
if they.
If this is what they're thinking is
Yeah.
a good
Oh,
idea,
yeah,
this
that's
is
awesome.
the plan.
Yeah.
Is for everyone to get it. And if you don't make it through, then I guess you're, the strongest will survive or whatever, and they're thinning
Survival
out
of
the herd.
the fattest. Oh, fittest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically capitalism. Survival of the fattest. You only have to look at Donald Trump. Were you going to eat those skins there?
What? No, I'm gonna give them the dog.
Oh, they'll like it.
You don't need them.
Yeah. I just didn't want to see them go to waste.
No, I'm just putting this some thing of suntan mushrooms on them.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, got smoke.
You
in my
got
eyes
a
there.
face full of smoke
I
there.
sure did. Anyway, so I guess I talked about it while I was putting the thing up.
What he was saying, another stupid thing. Do you remember what it was? It was was he saying? Was it this guy who was saying people who don't, like practice social distancing? There was some guy talking about the big parties in BC and stuff like
Oh
that.
yes, it was the same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was saying they're jackasses. Hey dude, you dude that was on CBC, they're not jackasses per se.
Or not just jackasses.
Yeah, exactly
They're-
right.
They're criminals.
They're criminals.
Yes,
you
they're-
don't trivialize it.
No.
You stupid jackass. What you're
He's
doing
a
is not
jackass.
criminal, but you're a jackass.
Yeah. Because he thinks it's great. If you're asymptomatic, then second time you get COVID and
It's good for you.
spread it
but
around for
Think about
everyone.
all the other people. I mean, this is one of the big problems with people who don't understand this kind of chain, not of evidence, but of passing the thing on. It's like a chain reaction. It's like a nuclear reaction. A nuclear reaction is not a chain reaction. It's not one link to another. It's the links just proliferate. So what a jackass. And somewhere or another, he gets to expose his I almost said dumb donkey opinions, but we'll call them jackass opinions.
Yeah.
His dumb jackass opinions on a platform that's funded by Pauline and me and other taxpayers.
Yeah.
I never paid to have
By all
a
sorts
dumb
of people
jackass.
who are going to end up dying from COVID because
they're working front line or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm having to go to hospital on average more than once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to go tomorrow and Monday and then Wednesday. I think this is going to be a fun week.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So you jackass! I wish I'd caught your jackassish name, but you
I'm sure his
stand
name's not
down.
Jackass.
God, drat it all! I almost said something different. Drat your eyes, you stupid fool.
Anyway, yeah. But I've been enjoying reading James
Well,
Joyce
we
with
went
you.
through about 60 pages of James Joyce Ulysses. It's not the easiest reading in the world, and I think we
We went
grasped a
through
lot
60 pages?
of it. Might be.
Not today.
Yes, we did.
What?
A little under 60. We started at page 121,
How
and
did
we ended
do
up
that?
at page 178. Well, it takes a long time to
That's how we're passing the time
barbecue.
barbecuing,
Yeah.
is reading Ulysses. Because I hate barbecuing. It takes a long time, and it is not a pleasure for me. I don't even like barbecued food. This is not a treat for me. So that makes it bearable. And I now have ashes probably on my head from doing that.
It looks, no, you don't actually, but you could have looked as though it was Lenten, whatever. I think some people,
Oh yes,
Catholics.
Ash
put-
Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
Yeah. But I'm not a Catholic.
Hmm?
So, yeah. It's funny. My mom had said something to me before. She's not Catholic. She was baptized Catholic because her parents were Catholic. She's a French Canadian, although you would never know it.
She speaks English more correctly than an English prop.
Yeah.
And she's
So,
probably got a vocabulary
have
as
an
good as
accent
the
at all.
average English prop.
But her siblings have accents. But
Everyone
all.
that I can think of, it's to one degree or none. Yeah.
Yeah,
But maybe some, it's almost none. So
maybe not Eddie.
there's quite a variance.
Anyway.
It's amazing.
And anyway, so Mom had said something to me once, like, to Catholics, you're not even a person until you've been baptized. So she's really creeped out by Catholic religion, and she doesn't like the fact that she was baptized as a baby because that was not done with her permission.
It's
And
wrong.
she,
Basically, it's a matter of identification. I think requiring kids to do that before the age of majority is a form of abuse. That's simple. Especially if you're visiting an image of hell or purgatory in the case of the
well, yeah,
on-
because
on-
I mean, she made the decision not to baptize us, and, and it's, I mean, really, it must have taken some strength of,
conviction.
yeah, to not do that when
Mhm.
when you're told that if you don't, then your children aren't going to be people,
Mhm.
you know. So anyway, interesting.
Yeah, it's worrisome. I mean, there's this idea that Catholics have fitted into Western society. No, come on. You know, like there's a dual allegiance there. There's allegiance to the country and something like democracy, but there's an allegiance to the Pope. So, and it's the Pope. It's not the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic Church is the Pope. So there's the occasional libertarian, not libertarian, but what do they call it? The left-wing kind of Catholics was Dan Berrigan one. But the vast majority are socially conservative, and you know, they stand on birth control, and abortion, things like that. Very socially conservative, and a society doesn't generally do well by comparison with societies that are basically nominally Protestant. That's one of the key things about Protestantism. It's allowed countries to basically go nominally Protestant. The official religion, I think, in the Scandinavian countries is still Lutheranism, but I think you'd find maybe even the vast majority of people in Scandinavia consider themselves atheists or agnostics or secular or something like that. So Protestantism has allowed that to happen. Catholicism, Europe, France is more secular than I think the other ones, but what did they have to do? They had to, I guess. I don't know if they had to, but what they did in 1789, between 1789 and maybe 1794, is they whacked a lot of priests, and they kind of broke the tentacles of the Catholic Church. So other places, a little less, like Spain. Franco, when was he deposed? 74 or something like that. That's pretty recent, 1 year before he was born. And he was kind of like this. I assume Salazar in Portugal was something similar, but that might be a vain assumption. But they were kind of like this, That's why I distinguish 3 layers of kind of like Nazism, fascism. The third layer is Phalangism, because they styled themselves, I think Salazar too, but Franco, as crusaders. Well, I don't think Hitler would have styled himself as a crusader, not seriously. And I don't think Mussolini, Hitler would have harked back to a pre-Christian Teutonic kind of culture. And Mussolini definitely portrayed himself as being another Roman emperor. So again, that was harking back to pre-Christian values. Both things would be polytheist, right? The ancient German mythology and stuff like that was religion. Was basically the same thing as Nordic religion, Scandinavian, pre-Scandinavian religion. In other words, they worshipped Odin. They just called him Wotan, and they worshipped Thor. What did they call him? Forgotten.
Oh, you can eat those mushrooms before the flies get at them.
Yeah. Okay.
Although they seem preoccupied on my corn cob or whatever.
Okay.
But no, I was just gonna say that how I just want to bring up again the idea of suggesting to people, actually saying it's great if you have no symptoms the second time you get COVID. That's not great at all. It's not great for everyone, and it's especially not great that the government is putting people on air that are in some sort of they have some sort of a medical background or whatever, and so they're encouraging people, the government and the medical community, at least this part of it, are encouraging people to go out and get COVID, frankly, by
spread
saying
the wealth
that.
around.
That's don't worry about getting it the first time, they're saying, because the next time you may have